Morning, students. Hope you are all fine and doing well. Be safe, be stay in home. Today we'll see about regulation of respiration. We know that respiration is a reflex process, but it can be controlled voluntarily. Suppose if you want to hold your breath, you can voluntarily. You can arrest rate of your respiration, but it is possible only for a short period of time. That will be around 30 to 40 seconds. Suppose if you are trained practitioner like a yoga practitioner, they can hold the breath for a longer period of time. But at the end of all the period of time that you hold your breath, the person is forced to breathe forcefully. The breathing should be forcefully. So the respiration is subject to ventilate even under a normal physiological condition. Okay, so how this respiration is regulated, that we'll see in this class. Okay, at the end of this class you should know about two types of respiration. In that, number one, nervous regulation, and number two, chemoregulation. In case of nervous mechanism, you should know about the respiratory centers and the connection of your respiratory centers, integration of respiratory centers, and what are the factors that affect your respiratory centers. And final one is about the chemoregulation. In that, there are two types, central chemoreceptors and your peripheral chemoreceptor. Okay, hope you are all remember this flame நடுவுல கொஞ்சம் பக்கத்து காணும், right? Where he is mentioning here, that is, yeah, medulla oblongata. Now that respiratory center for respiration is mainly on your medulla oblongata. That we'll see little detail on this. Okay, now before going to that, before going to this topic, coming to next two slides, you should concentrate on these two slides and try to memorize this complete point. See here, this complete point, you memorize it. That is the easiest way to develop your 10 mark questions on respiration, regulation of respiration. So this is the basic hints to learn better. Okay, this slide and next slide, you concentrate on this slide, and then you can listen, you can understand better. Okay, now we'll see about regulation of respiration. In order to know about your respiratory regulation of respiration, you should know about the respiratory centers. That respiratory centers maximum it can, what is the main function of your respiratory center, it can control the rate and rhythm and force of respiration. Okay, what are the respiratory centers? The first one is medullary center. Medullary center, see here, this is about your heart and to the brain. Nervous regulation, these two are the nervous regulation that has been given to the brain. Okay, and this part, this one is a zoomed version that has been given on the top diagram. See here, in this first one we'll see about the medullary center. See here, this is the medullary center, the first one, and number two. There are two types of respiratory center. First one is your medullary center, and number two is your pontine centers. This is about a nervous regulation. In addition, you are having a chemoregulation. Chemoregulation we see little later. In the nervous regulation, there are two things. First one is a medullary region and pontine region. In the medullary region, see here, this is a dorsal group of neuron and ventral group of neuron. Okay, first we'll see one by one. And in your pontine region, there is two things: hypnostic center and pneumotask center. We'll see about a dorsal group of neuron. First, see here, concentrate here, dorsal group of neuron, where it is present and what is the main function of dorsal group of neuron. In that way, we are going to study all these four respiratory centers. First, dorsal group of neuron. Where it is present? It is present in the upper part of your medullary region. Okay. First one is it is present in the upper part of medullary region. Okay. Next, what's the main function? See, listen here. The main function is it is involved in the inspiratory process. The dorsal group of neuron is involved in the inspiratory process. How it will involve? It sends nerves to your this one intercostal muscles and your diaphragm. In your diaphragm and your intercostal muscles, these two. See, efferent via efferent nerve, it will send the impulses. It gets if there is a less amount of oxygen inside in your lung or your blood, what happens through a phrenic nerve, sensory nerves, it sends an impulse to your dorsal group of neuron. There it will sense a efferent nerve. It sends the efferent nerve to your, for the inspiration, it will send the nerve to your diaphragm and to your external intercostal muscles. Okay, now your external intercostal muscle will contract and diaphragm will move down. It creates less volume inside the lung. It creates the amount of air that can enter inside the lung. Okay, this is about respiration, inspiratory process. Next one is about ventral group of neuron. Next, ventral group of neuron, where it is present and what is the function. Ventral group of neuron, now it is present in the lower part of medulla oblongata. See here, it is present in the lower part of medulla oblongata. Now, what is the main function of your ventral group of neuron? Here, this ventral group of neuron, it will involve both inspiration and expiration. It will involve both inspiration and expiration. Yes, at the same time, it will involve the depth of inspiratory process. Additional one is it will involve both inspiration and expiration, and it will also involve the depth of inspiration, forceful inspiration. Am I clear? See, this ventral group of neuron will involve both inspiration and expiration. Where it will send through the phrenic nerve and see through the phrenic nerve and to the external and internal intercostal muscles. Suppose if it will involve in the expiratory process, then it will send impulse through your diaphragm and to your internal intercostal muscles. For the expiration, diaphragm and internal intercostal muscles. Okay. See, and this one, your ventral group of neuron will also have an influence over your dorsal group of neuron. Suppose, listen carefully, what happens, this will have an influence over on the inspiration. It will inhibit the inspiratory process. Later the expiration will start. That's why it is called as expiration is a passive process. Okay, next we'll see about Pontine centers. Pontine centers, there are two things. One is apnostic center and number two is pneumotoxic center. First, apnostic center, where it is located and its function. The same one, pneumotoxic center, where it is located and the function. First one, apnostic center. Apnostic center is present in the lower pons. See, lower part of your pons. What is the main function? It will involve your depth of respiration. The main function is it will involve your depth of inspiration. Mainly dorsal group of neuron is involved in the inspiratory process. Ventral group of neuron will involve in both inspiration and expiration. Here it will at the same time, it is force of inspiration. Here it will involve in your depth of inspiration. Okay, next one is pneumotoxic center. Pneumotoxic center, that is present in the upper part of your pontine center, pontine region. It is present in the upper part of your pontine region. It has a influence over on your apnostic center. This apnostic center is already have an influence over on your dorsal group of neuron. Suppose if your pneumotoxic center wants to try to inhibit your dorsal group of neuron, what happens here? It will inhibit your apnostic center. This apnostic center will have a influence over on dorsal group of neuron. This causes your inspiration will stop. Later, your expiration will stop. will start. This is about your pneumotoxic center. See, your if your pneumotoxic center is inhibit your apnostic center, this apnostic center have a influence over your dorsal group of neuron. Here inspiration will start and expiration will start. This is about your nervous regulation. Am I clear? We'll see little more detail. This is the basic things. If you understand this concept, you try to memorize these points fully, so you can develop 10 more questions in your own if you don't forget it. Next, next is about your regulation of respiration chemoreceptors. We'll see little detail. Chemoreceptors again. Chemoreceptor is of two types. One is central chemoreceptor and number two is peripheral chemoreceptors. Okay, when the chemoreceptor is active, the chemoreceptor is active for your oxygen and carbon dioxide concentration, at the same time increasing hydrogen ion concentration. Now, this central chemoreceptor, where it is located? It is located in the deeper part of your medulla oblongata. See here, it is present in the deeper part of medulla oblongata. Now, this chemoreceptor, when it will become more sensitive, whenever there is a increasing hydrogen ion concentration, this presence of hydrogen ion concentration is a main stimulant for your chemoreceptor. See this chemoreceptor, how it will sense your H plus ion concentration. First we'll see about hypercapnia. In this case, what do you mean by hypercapnia? Hypercapnia is nothing but increasing concentration of carbon dioxide in your blood. If the carbon dioxide is increases, what happen in the blood? It combined with your water, it will produce this acid, carboxylic acid. What happens? This is very easily breakable, unstable. It is unstable. So what happened? It will easily break and it will produce H plus ion concentration and HCO3 minus ion concentration. The same way, if the concentration of carbon dioxide is increases in your blood, your H plus ion concentration will also increase. It will give a stimulant to your, it will be sensed by your chemoreceptors. Am I clear? Maximum your glomus cells will also present in your carotid artery, that we'll see a little later. See here, this will sense your H plus ion concentration, that is in your CSF fluid, cerebrospinal fluid. Through that it will sense, it will have it send a impulses through over here through a vagus nerve, sorry, through this nerve it will sense impulse through your dorsal group of neuron. Here it will increase the rate of ventilation process will be increased if H plus ion concentration is increased. Am I clear? See, if H plus ion concentration increase, it sends by your chemoreceptor, that sends a impulse to your dorsal group of neuron. Dorsal group of neuron is already an inspiratory center. It will increase your ventilation. So, your increasing carbon dioxide concentration will be decreased. Next one. Next one is peripheral chemoreceptor. That is two things, carotid artery and aortic body. Carotid body and aortic body. See here. This one is about aortic body and this one is about carotid body, that is present nearer to your heart. Okay. In this case, suppose if hypoxia is nothing but decreasing high oxygen concentration. If the oxygen concentration is decreased, whenever the blood will comes to your aorta, there are cells present here, that is glomus cell that is situated here. This will sense your decreasing oxygen concentration. So it sends a impulse to your dorsal group of neuron through two nerves. In your aortic body through your aortic nerve and carotid body through your nerve of Herring. These two nerve will send a impulse to your, see, these two now it sends a impulse to your dorsal group of neuron. This dorsal group of neuron work is it's a inspirative center. So it will increase your prolonged ventilation. At the same time, it will also involve in the depth of inspiration. So if you increase the depth of inspiration, the oxygen demand will be decreased. So it will produce your improved ventilation. This is about a general thing about nervous regulation and chemoregulations. Hope you understand. With these two slides itself you can understand better. We'll see little detail and with the structure everything. We'll see in the next upcoming slides. Now, the general. The normal rate of respiration for a normal health adult is 12 to 18 per minute. Tidal volume is approximately 500 ml. Adjust to the requirement of the body. Spontaneous respiration, rhythmic discharge, motor neurons that innervate the respiratory muscles. The regulation, there are two mechanisms involved here. One is nervous regulation and number two is chemoregulation. First one, nervous regulation of respiration. First one, there are voluntary control. Another one is automatic control. See here, a voluntary control of respiration is located in the cerebral cortex. Automatic control of respiration is located in your brainstem. That one only we have seen. That is a dorsal group of neuron and ventral group of neurons. Okay. Nervous or neuronal mechanism and chemical mechanism. First one is nervous mechanism. It involves in the respiratory centers, afferent and efferent nerves. Respiratory centers, the center in the medulla oblongata and pons that are collects sensory information about the level of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the blood and determine the signal to be sent to your respiratory muscles. Respiratory muscles is nothing but your intercostal muscles and your diaphragm. And the stimulation of these respiratory muscles provide a respiratory movements which leads to alveolar ventilation. Respiratory centers are situated in the reticular formation of your brainstem depending upon the situation in the brainstem. The respiratory centers are classified into two groups. One is medullary center and pontine center. See these two, medullary center and pontine center. Now, medullary centers, first one is inspiratory center. Inspiratory center is nothing but dorsal group of neuron and expiratory center is ventral group of neuron. See, this will have both inspiration and expiration. This only will have an inspiratory process. And pontine centers are pneumotoxic center and hypnostic center. Okay, inspiratory centers. That's the dorsal group of neuron. Where it is situated? It is situated in the upper part of medulla oblongata. It is also called as dorsal group of respiratory neurons. It is formed by the nucleus of tractus solitarius. The additional point note panikonga. It is also concerned with the inspiration. Okay, now expiratory center. This is ventral group of neuron. It is situated in the medulla oblongata anterior and lateral to the inspiratory center. Abdullah, lower part. It is also called as ventral group of respiratory nerve. It is formed by the neurons of nucleus ambiguous and nucleus retroambiguous. What is the main function? This center is inactive during quiet breathing. Normal breathing, it is very inactive. Inspiratory center is active center, but during forceful breathing, when the inspiratory center is inhibited, this become active. For the forceful breathing, where dorsal group of neuron, sorry, ventral group of neuron is active. Okay, now this is about hypnostic center. Where it is situated? It is situated in the lower pons. What is the main function? It is main function is depth of inspiration by acting directly on the inspiratory center. That is a dorsal group of neuron. Pneumotactic center. It is situated in the upper pons. It is formed by the nucleus of parabrachialis. It is a function, it controls the medullary respiratory center, particularly the inspiratory centers through hypnostic center. It always control the activity of inspiratory center so that duration of inspiration is controlled. Okay. Now, nervous connection of respiratory centers. Now listen carefully. Afferent pathway. Okay, that's sensory now. Respiratory center receives afferent impulse from different part of the body according to the movement of your thoracic cage and to your lungs. From the peripheral, chemoreceptors and baroreceptor impulse are carried by glossopharyngeal and vagus nerve to the respiratory centers. This is about afferent and this one is about efferent pathway. Nerve fibers from the respiratory center leaves the brain and descend in the anterior part of lateral column of spinal cord. These nerve fibers terminate in the motor neurons in the anterior horn cells of the cervical and thoracic segment of your spinal cord. From motor neurons, two sets of nerve arises which supplies a particular muscles. This one, phrenic nerve. Phrenic nerve supplies to your diaphragm and intercostal nerves fibers that sends to your intercostal muscles. Okay, now we'll see about what are the factors that affect your respiratory centers. First one is impulses from your higher centers and impulses from your stretch receptor of your lungs and impulses from J receptor of lungs. What do you mean by J receptor? J receptor are juxtacapillary receptor which are present on the wall of alveoli and also having close contact with your pulmonary capillary. So definitely it will affect your respiratory centers. Next, impulses from the irritate receptors of lung, proprioceptor, impulses from proprioceptor, impulses from thermoreceptor, impulses from pain receptor, cough reflex, sneezing reflex, and even deglutition. While drinking of water will also affect your rate of your respiration. Next, chemical mechanism. This one also we studied about the chemical mechanism, hypoxia, hypercapnia, and increasing hydrogen ion concentration by hypercapnia. Yes, this chemoreceptor are classified into central chemoreceptor and peripheral chemoreceptor. Central chemoreceptor that is situated in the lower part of your medulla oblongata and peripheral chemoreceptor that are present in your carotid bodies and your aortic bodies. This one, see, this is about a central chemoreceptor. Once the decreasing ventilation, what it happens, it increase arterial PCO2. There it causes decreasing pH level. See, listen here, it decrease your pH level. How come? See, already we know that pH is equal to 1 by sorry H plus ion. If H plus ion concentration is increased, what happen? Your pH value will also decrease. So your blood pH value will decrease by increasing way H plus ion concentration. So chemoreceptor in the aortic and carotid bodies, it will sense and it will send to your respiratory center. This causes increasing your ventilation. So in that way, it can reduce your CO2 concentration. See, through your aortic and carotid bodies. Okay, now see here, this is your aortic body and your carotid body. Through these nerves, it sends the impulse through your dorsal group of neurons. In that way, it can increase your prolonged ventilation. It will change or it will regulate your respiratory processes. Okay, this one summary. That's what I have mentioned in the first two slides. Go through on this. Hope you are understanding. If you are having any doubts, ask me. Thank you.